Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about crypto and economics and other stuff. And actually in today's video, I want to talk a little bit about stocks along with some other things. And before we dive on into this, a free way you can support this channel, smash up that like button, leave a comment in the comment section for the algorithm, hit the subscribe if you haven't already, turn on that notification button as well so that you don't miss any daily crypto content. But in this video, I want to ask the question, I get this question asked a lot actually, is what do you do when you cash out? Because again, all right, let me back up for a second. I am a believer that 2025 is going to be rough, that it's going to be a recession, and that we are not going to have a soft landing, but a harder landing where rates would bottom out somewhere under 2%, maybe even down to 0% if the Fed gets spooked enough. And so what do you do in the event of a crash? And you want to cash out of crypto, because I think the next few months for crypto are going to be good. October and November especially, they're going to be good months, and I am hoping to get close to the peak and sell close to the peak, as I mean, obviously I would, and many of you would as well. So what do you do with your gains, especially considering the fact that the US dollar is trash and it is losing its value, and inflation being only at 3% is absolute nonsense, and you know that. And so where do you go? Where do you park your funds until what I am expecting when rates do bottom out to be the best opportunity, the best buying opportunity of this decade? So I'm going to share some thoughts on that in this video, and I hope that this can be helpful. This is something that I've wanted to talk about for a while, and why not talk about it in an open format like this? So I've said for a while that my primary goal for this bull run, or maybe it would be for that reloading time, after that reloading time, would be that I would acquire 10 Bitcoin and $500,000 in stocks, and that I would sell covered calls, sell options. I'm actually open to the possibility of selling puts, but not in the event of a crash, but selling options off of $500,000 worth of capital. And so I'm not going to get into what does that mean, selling covered calls. Look for that information on YouTube. I just really like it. And I am convinced that with $500,000 to play with, that I would be able to make 5 figures a month only on selling options. And so how exciting would that be to have my basics covered? And I kind of do need to make 5 figures a month just to break even right now with school expenses. I'm not bitter or anything, but okay, 10 Bitcoin and $500,000 in stocks and ETFs. That's kind of goal number one, okay? So where do you cash out based off of that information? Cash out into Bitcoin, not financial advice. I don't want to try to time the bottom with Bitcoin. There's going to be a day when Bitcoin in its US dollar pair is just going to absolutely explode, and we're going to enter this new territory where the US dollar just fails, and Bitcoin, and it's the communication that it's failed is that Bitcoin is going so much up in value that the US dollar is just, it's clearly failing. Now, when's that time going to be? I'm not going to give any answers to that, but I do believe after the great debasement of 2025 that Bitcoin is going to skyrocket, and it's going to skyrocket when people least expect it. Yes, I am talking about when most people are thinking when the bear market comes, you know, the next bear market, 2026, 2027. I actually think that's going to be a very bullish time to own Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's dominance is going to go up to something like 80%. Okay, that was a lot in one word. I don't want to try to time that. I want to cash out. When I cash out, I want to cash out and acquire as much Bitcoin as possible. Now, I do want to be strategic in that. So I don't want to go all in on Bitcoin at the moment of the peak, obviously, especially if I think Bitcoin is going to go down to something like $30,000 to $35,000 in 2025. So where else do you put your funds? Stocks. Now what stocks? Now, I've been saying on my channel, I have been DCAing into Walmart, and believe it or not, and I am selling options on Walmart. I'm selling covered calls on Walmart, rolling those options into new covered calls every week as the stock price goes up. And when it doesn't go up, when things go down, Walmart is actually going to hold its value very well, as it did in 2008, 2009. Because, I mean, when you think about it, when people have less money, where are they going to shop? In the United States, at least, they're going to shop in Walmart. They're going to maybe not shop as much in Target and H&M. I don't know. I'm just throwing some random high-end places out there. They're going to be buying stuff at Walmart. to save money. So Walmart will hold up well. Verizon will hold up well. People are addicted to their phones. They're not going, if they're going to cut anything, one of the things they're absolutely not going to cut is their phones. I wouldn't be surprised if Verizon did not lose any money in 2025 in the middle of a recession. So Verizon's pretty stable. I really like selling covered calls and selling options with Verizon. And also they have a pretty decent dividend. So all of that rolling into it, I think I could double my Verizon shares selling options on Verizon within a year, 2 years. So cashing out to that. What else are people not going to cut back on? They're not going to cut back on food. And so I have investments into craft foods, just things like that, things that are incredibly boring, things that are stable. And I would strongly recommend looking for things that would do well in a recession. I don't think oil would do well, but maybe there's some energy expenses, some energy related stocks that could do very well. I don't know. I want to think about that more, but things that would do well in the event of a recession, that's where I want to be parking my funds. Gold is very much another one. And for me, the GLD ETF, which is owned by BlackRock, it's just gold. A gold crash is 15%, you know, but I think gold, I'm incredibly bullish on gold. And I know that's almost sacrilege for a crypto person to be talking about, but I am incredibly, incredibly bullish on gold over the next decade, where a decade from now, gold, I think, is going to be much higher than double its price, which, okay, that doesn't sound great being a crypto channel, but you want to preserve your assets. There's a point when you have to switch from being a degen to being somebody who preserves their wealth. And I think gold is a great option. Now, there's lots of different indexes and things like that. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. There's plenty that we can talk about. Real estate is obviously another one that I think would make a lot of sense if you're dealing in higher dollar amounts. For me, my primary goal is 10 Bitcoin and $500,000 worth of stocks that I'm selling options on. But maybe after that, real estate, honestly, I'm not even all that excited about owning rental properties or all that. I'd rather have my money work for me in other ways. And so, you know, in ways that don't involve me dealing with angry tenants. I did work as a property manager once, and it was terrible. It was a terrible, terrible experience. I'll never forget you, Barbie. That was her actual name. The worst, by far the worst tenant that we ever had. Barbie and her mom and her dogs. One of her dogs died and she flipped out. It wasn't our fault, Barbie. Anyway, so real estate, I'm kind of out on real estate. That's just my thing. But if you want to take the time to flip houses or to renovate properties and have a rental unit, by all means, I think that's a great investment. Now, what else is there? Have you considered some other things? And again, this is not financial advice. Life insurance. And why life insurance? Life insurance that you build up a value. And I was once a life insurance agent, and I may actually pursue life insurance again, just as an option for those of you listening to my channel. You want to get connected in that. I'm not a life insurance agent now, so don't contact me. But life insurance where you build up a cash value to where if you were to end the life insurance policy, you can pull that cash out right now. Because here's what a beautiful thing about life insurance is, and this is something that very wealthy people do, is that instead of selling stocks and having to pay capital gains tax, when they need money, they just they borrow from their life insurance policy. And so, and what's the appeal with that? Well, it's tax-free. Now, I'm talking about the United States. I don't know about other countries, but in the United States, it's tax-free to borrow, and to borrow against your assets. And there are things like that with crypto as well. I mean, check out Aave and all of that, where you can borrow against your assets and it's tax-free. And of course, you pay that back at some point, or you don't. So life insurance, another thing that I would suggest is annuities. And that's another thing that I might be pursuing as well. If you're interested, eventually, maybe I'll be talking about that and how we can get connected, and we can roll over 6 figures, 7 figures into an annuity that on a down year will not lose you will not lose your cash value. They take on the risk. And then on an up year, you'll gain whatever the S&P gains. Just for example, there are so many options. Another one that I will be pursuing, believe it or not, is art. I think that, wealthy people, again, they store a lot of their wealth in art. It is a good place to store your wealth. And so there's a lot of things, and I hope that this can help get your mind rolling. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comment section of this video. What would you be putting your money into? Otherwise, that's all I have for today. I hope you have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. Have a good one.